What's up everybody, Lpearly here. This is going to be something a little bit different from normal. This is just going to be a sort of like a sleep aid type video for E.Y.E Divine Cybermancy, because there's not really like something on YouTube going over all the lore and stuff, like reading everything in the in-game library. So I thought that would be fun to make. Make like a sleep aid type video for people who enjoy my voice, enjoy my content. Maybe on nights where I'm not streaming, you can, put this on in the background while you go to bed. I just want to let you guys know there is a mention of rape and sexual assault in this. Later on, I am going to timestamp that wherever that ends up being, just because I do want to give people a heads up, just because, this is going to be something you're going to be putting on while you're trying to go to sleep. So thank you for watching. I won't waste your time any longer, and I'll let you all get into it.
Historical archives loaded.
Chronology.
Years former to 2116. Dark Ages. Period from 2116 2250. Technological Middle Ages. From 2250 to 2379. Era of Darkness. 2380. Rebirth and departure of the new era, the new Year Zero. Year 15, where our story begins.
The history of the Earth remains a mystery because of the many wars and catastrophes it underwent. We only know that it's during this dark period before 2116 that psychic abilities were studied and admitted by science, initially by the Army in the 1890s, then by civil science in the 1970s. We also know that the consortium of megacorporations was created at the same time as the first Martian colony. In 2116, the space colonization began along the discovery of interdimensional space. Then Mars proclaimed its independence and launched an offensive against the Earth with equipment unknown to the human race. This flash attack decimated 2/3 of the human race. The surviving countries formed an alliance, the Federation, in order to better counter Mars, but almost all of their military equipment had been destroyed. The megacorporations, having their own war weaponry, proposed to help the Federation, hoping to extend their power and influence. During this war, the Federation used telepathic soldiers. These new troops were called the Parapsychic Legion. Its role was mainly to inform, misinform, torture, spy, search for, and find traitors. At the end of the war, the Legion became the Federation's Inquisition, constantly gaining power and influence. It was renamed Federal Parapsychic Army and was separated from military command in order to keep its autonomy, but remains under federal control. Mars was beaten by the Commander Cabalt's army, who fought with his troops himself, remaining in the front lines throughout the battle until his victory in 2127. The planet was brought back under federal domination after the population and the Martians' army were almost entirely decimated in bloody combat. The remaining survivors, questioned by the Parapsychic Corps, spoke of an incident on one of the most important Kroon Corporation's mines in Mars Sector 9, where first the population, then their leaders, became insane, frantic, and bloodthirsty, raising an army with weaponry no one had ever seen before. All the investigations undertaken after this conflict on Mars failed. The mystery of this strange Martian technology was never solved because all evidence of it was destroyed. Space colonization continued through 2250, when a planet was discovered in Sector Taurus 27. The planet was baptized Jade thanks to its green color. After a few months of terraforming, a team of construction workers discovered a wreckage, a strange and huge black vessel. The Federation sent a military detachment, accompanied by various scientists, to study inside the vessel, where they found an artifact that looked like a black and gold human warhammer with multiple inscriptions on its handle. Extraterrestrial people made contact 6 hours after this discovery, claiming the lost wreckage and the hammer as theirs. This race was called Horus. The Federation ordered its detachment to bring the hammer back with them to their lunar research base as fast as possible, thus ignoring the Horus request. 20 hours after this exchange, a war broke out. The humans were very quickly crushed by the technological and psychic superiority of their attackers. The war was one of rare violence. The Horus fought like they were already dead. In what would have been the final Horus assault, the 5th of March, 2253, an unknown force attacked Horus and humans. Their vessels looked strangely like the wreckage discovered on Jade. The wreckage disappeared during an attack on the supposedly secret lunar base, along with the mysterious forces that disappeared as quickly as they had come. Horus and humans signed a peace treaty, Horus even sharing some of the knowledge and technologies known to them with the humans. They explained that the army with black vessels was a mystery to them, but that they had found old text in a ruin on a remote planet which spoke about Jade and the wreckage, as well as the great threat it represented. The Horus mother planet remains unknown to the human race, along with the majority of their culture. The Horus are a human race, with an organ that is considered to be a third eye in the middle of their forehead. Their nation is composed of warriors directed by a theocratic system. Horus have a very powerful caste of fighting monks, the Nemesis, which only the rare human could integrate, the first being the Honorable Najin, name given by the Horus, in 2227. Some say he is still living today, others think this could be pro-friendly Horus human propaganda. The Federation, with its 1,200 planets, signed an alliance pact with the Horus in 2280. In 2283, the alliance was attacked by an unknown people of human type, but with technology equivalent to the Horus. Their vessels were the same as the force that had attacked in the past and the wreckage found on Jade. Close to a century later, after huge and bloody battles where the enemy dominated, the situation was mysteriously overturned by a nemesis raid. The war finally ended in 2379 when the Alliance forces, directed by Commander Alan Tekaros, the Horus War Master, Talar Nayan Shan, and Najin, invaded the Black Planet, Zek Primus, Cradle of the Invader according to the official version, but only an advanced post, according to rumor. The circumstances of this war remain mysterious. The Black Planet might have only been a minor base of an empire much more vast, but in 2380, the forces that be declared this as the year of Federation rebirth and hence renamed it the Year Zero. In the year 14, Sachin, a rebellious war master with an army composed of a few billion soldiers, tried to invade Zarek. The Federation destroyed the planet in response. There are symbols on Sachin's flag which haven't been seen since the Black Planet Wars. It's at this moment that the Federation decides to make the following information public. In 2312, they had created, hand in hand with the Nemesis, 13 fighting legions. Each legion lives on a fortress planet containing 50,000 men. Among them, 10 Nemesis-level masters and their own Master of War of Master Nemesis level. It has also been learned from the Horus that the Nemesis name was rather recent. Some say this name came following high treason of half of the Nemesis during the Black Planet conflict, but no one knows anything anymore. We only know that the Parapsychic Army tried to exterminate the Nexus, failing miserably. The Parapsychic Army and the Nemesis are the only two institutions authorized to train and use people with psychic gifts. These gifts are latent in all people. A shock or specific training can awaken and increase them. The Parapsychic Army and Nemesis seek psychers and telepaths throughout the Federation. When they're found, they have either two choices: either join one of the two factions, or be eliminated by the Parapsychic Army, which considers all independent telepathist or psyker as potential danger. Nevertheless, each megacorporation seeks and non-officially uses telepathists for security, industrial espionage, recruiting, etc. Federal Army also uses psychers, formed by the Parapsychic Army, that they have nicknamed War Conjurers. The Parapsychic Army and Nemesis have a difficult time locating new telepathists and psychers.
0, 0, 1, 1. At the beginning. Status okay. Files loaded. Shinji's thinking.
Shinji Osama lives in a world which has lost all sense of moral reference. When he walks the streets of the megalopolis, he notices that the number of tramps is constantly increasing while mutual aid and compassion lessen. Since the catastrophe called the Kroon Incident, Federation social security and welfare have become a myth, even though the main argument for world unification of the space colonies was in fact a brave new world for everybody. Shinji reminisces about his childhood and his youthful holidays in the mountains with nature. Already then, the mountains were in bad shape, but now they're a disaster that no one can care for. People are more interested by the conquest of space and the creation of new colonies in the borders of known space, a recent development and growing rapidly over the last 50 years. There's even an annoying anti-gravity vehicle, preaching about the benefits of colonization that flies classes flat every single evening. It comes as no surprise that individualism and self-consciousness have become the leading qualities in the modern human being. At best, the human takes refuge in clannishness, family and work, or, as the psychic conditioners, trained by the Parapsychic Corps like to call it, company spirit. In the worst case, human is infantile, narcissistic, aggressive, superficial, uncultivated, distressed, and wondering why. It's not any worse than all the spiritual movements which swarm about everywhere. It's in fashion, it sells well, and allows people to escape their pathetic reality. In any case, this is the message from Shinji's favorite station, Channel 909, without mentioning their false pretenses inspired by old religions and old spiritual movements, but lacking their essence. Information, the most invaluable produce, the most sought after. The media is king and formats people as much as it educates them. Paradox or complementarity. But the media governs all life and all human desires, not unlike in animism's times with its primitive ones. Media defines normal behavior, conformism, and the standardization of society with codes of conduct and uniform that may seem different. The Matrix and Ocean, this parallel computer universe, becomes a refuge. Virtual reality gets one up on real life.
Shinji, the Predator, and the Wolf.
It will be her because just like every Friday night, Shinji looks for a victim. After a long and heavy dinner, Shinji feels overly full, but he notices that beautiful girl and the frail young man who accompanies her have finished their feast and are about to leave. Our killer follows them over to the underground car park. After a short hesitation, he awkwardly slices the throat of the girl's lover with a fast blow of wakihashi. The girl is terrorized and starts to howl. Not for long. Shinji reaches his electric club and knocks the victim cold. Just like every Saturday, Shinji tortures and rapes a woman in his cellar. Once his sadistic pleasure completed, he decapitates the victim with no loss of emotion. And like every Sunday, Shinji goes to bury the bloody and mutilated body of his victim in the Elato forest, which is venerated by the ancients who called it the sanctuary. Shinji has accomplished the same ritual for 12 long years, ever since his return from the colonial wars. But today, the atmosphere is even stranger than normal. Suddenly, he sees a white wolf on a small hill which looks at him fixedly. The wolf, without opening his jaws, communicating as spirit to a spirit, asks Shinji, "What are you doing?" Frightened, Shinji tries to dissimulate his sinister dead, but then, realizing the abnormality of a speaking wolf, he stops to answer the animal with a, "What in the?" Shinji is now dead. The wolf surely killed him, and yet he feels a pain in his throat. Moreover, he doesn't feel peaceful, nor free, but distressed. He feels his body as if he's imprisoned inside. His conscience sinks gradually into a dark rage, pure madness, even for him. A mysterious force seizes him. The incident. The destruction. A man witnessed the murder during his jogging round, only he doesn't describe a wolf to the federal police who question him, but a strange creature, 2 meters tall. 2 days after this bloody death, the zone has been entirely zoned off and quarantined by the federal army. During the quarantine, the soldiers assigned to the zone were said to have seen and heard several strange things prowling about, and their numbers seemed to increase gradually and steadily increase. Then on one rainy morning, there was an intense light, and then an explosion, which destroyed everything over a surface of several 100,000 square kilometers. Only the forest was saved. The Federation blamed a terrorist attack from an orbital targeting station in an attempt to bury the story. The news of the incident and the quarantine were revealed by a famous news channel, preceding the soldiers' testimonies, censored by the Federation. The revelation was a shock to the population, who interpreted it as a sign indicating the end of the world, and many of the spiritual fanatic groups claimed that it was a divine sign. They joined together and developed the idea that these creatures were beings superior to humans and had come to punish the declining world, or to guide the righteous in their path. First contact. Last breath. At the same time, an old secret society was called upon by the Federation to take care of the forest issue. This group was called the Secreta Secretorium, and they had existed before the dawn of time. For the Federation, this new force was the same one which had been so destructive during the disastrous report of the Kroon incident, but very quickly, the group proved that this force had no resemblance with the one that the Federation dreaded. As soon as the group was in place, the mysterious force that the group called the Metastrumonic Will sent a messenger. This messenger was captured, studied, and killed. In the official report, the creature attacked first using its messenger status to surprise the members of the group. The raid was a failure. No one survived. The zone was declared forbidden. The group created the E.Y.E project to create an army of warrior monks with one major specification. The messenger's DNA was used to create a legion of 1,100 super soldiers. Each member of E.Y.E was also cybernetic with next-generation technology. The first aim of E.Y.E was to avert all actions of the Metastrumonic Will. To reach this goal, E.Y.E, along with elite soldiers of the army, launched a new raid to pacify the forest that was met with rapid success. Radicalization and more destruction. This action had other less happy consequences. A powerful group of fanatics radicalized their action and launched reprisal action by simultaneously launching several old nuclear missiles all across the Federation. The many planets and areas that were saved owe their lives to the good work of the Federal Information Services. The shock was terrible for the population, who demanded revenge. The group gave E.Y.E the responsibility of pacifying the fanatics. With Federation agreement, the cleaning operation was met with rapid success. New Eden, New Hell. Taking advantage of the general chaos and its role in the destruction of the fanatic groups, Secreta Secretorum builds a fortress on the still irradiated ruins of the old religious megalopolis of Ortiosa. This reinforced megalopolis is baptized New Eden. 10 years later, the influence and the power of the megacorporations, united within the consortium, exceeded those of the Federation. Only this group remains influential and powerful. It is becoming increasingly independent, going as far as founding its own army, which immediately had no equal. New Eden won't be spared from vice and corruption. The megalopolis spirals quickly down. Crime and chaos destabilize the government in place. The E.Y.E project moves in and quickly rectifies the situation rather quickly, at the same time gaining influence within the group. The rise in power of E.Y.E starts to worry the leaders of the group, who decide soon afterwards to put E.Y.E to sleep. But not for long. Strange events begin to occur elsewhere within the Federation. The call to arms. And the end of an era. Left and right, the dead return to the life to attack the living. Half man, half animal creatures start to walk the earth, and strange creatures attack spaceships and the colonies that up until now had been spared. E.Y.E is reborn, but divided into two authorities, which were also divided into sections to limit its power. Its mission was again to thwart any action that they believed to be of the metastromonic will. Then, terrifying and huge creatures appeared and led whole legions of the dead, beasts, and strange abominations. In a 7 years' war, this army decimated 70% of humanity. Then, attacks stopped, just as mysteriously as they had started. Almost all the federal territories were devastated, in ruin, reduced to lifeless deserts because of the chemical and nuclear attacks used to try and stop the creatures. Once again, population trauma was enormous, and many listened to speeches by various extremist spiritual movements which preached that the end of their universe was close, and the creatures of the Force were sent to punish them of their headstrong pretension and vice. The popular mass became paranoid towards the leading authorities, thinking that the government had known the truth and hadn't done what was needed. But the most disturbing fact concerns the reports about humans fighting along the mysterious Legion. Other strange fact, New Eden was only slightly attacked and very worried, for the moment in any case. Decline in independence. Benefiting from consortium and federal weaknesses, the group reached supreme power in the New Eden colony, founding a rigid dictatorship. But the lure of gains and profits and corruption resurfaced quickly, rapidly strangling the young independent colony, thus forfeiting power to revolutionary groups and other opponents to the regime. In this climate, the Federation launched a cabal against this group by revealing old mistakes and slip-ups of the group. The E.Y.E elite was officially dissolved by Secreta Secretorum to calm the popular masses, but this was not enough to calm the Federation's vengeful hatred of those who placed the colony under embargo. O100, here and now. Welcome, brother. Secreta Secretorum, taking full account of the Federation's coercive measures, decides to attempt a coup d'etat. E.Y.E troops stand at the ready, rallied to win by desperation to get out from under federal rule. It's in this chaos that the creatures of the metastromonic will reappear, launching fast and devastating attacks all over the Federation, including New Eden. The Federation hardened the laws prohibiting access to high-end war equipment such as the energy weapons. The whole market is in shortage. The Federation hardened the laws prohibiting access to high-end war equipment such as the energy weapons. The whole market is in shortage. Secreta Secretorum launches its own research programs to counter it. E.Y.E is in its worst possible position. Officially, the structure no longer exists. Covertly, it takes actions through Secreta Secretorum to fight the metastromonic force, but also the enemies of the group as well. E.Y.E is still divided into two groups, Walter Day and Jian Shangdi, which with time become rivals and hostile towards one another. The equipment difficulties that both groups share are undoubtedly not foreign to these tensions. E.Y.E must also be partly financed by itself. It employs beginners wishing to integrate the structure and sends them on badly equipped missions to intercept important valuable cargoes. These warriors parade as galactic plunderers. E.Y.E, like many other, knows a serious shortage in high-end military and cybernetic equipment. During this time, the elite troops of E.Y.E achieve capital missions in the anti-metastromonic and anti-federal fight, exterminating the threat even on the furthest colonies, recovering artifacts on inhospitable worlds, and protecting civilians, besieged cities. The cohabitation is rather well tolerated by federal authorities who take into account E.Y.E's successful missions against the Force. There are even some federal forces and members of the organization shoulder to shoulder, defending their hearts from the mysterious enemy raids. The invasion by the metastromonic force increases each day, and the war against the Federation ravages whole worlds every second. This is where you come into play. You are an undercover agent for Secreta Secretorum, where you must navigate between E.Y.E factions, keeping them at bay and reporting to the Secreta. Your role is to serve the organization's purpose, fight the metastromonic force, and overthrow the Federation. But you have another problem. You have just shot 4 large-caliber bullets into your mentor's head. Why?